And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Cryptomancy. Roy Blackstone here. And I'm joined by the Grand Negus. Negus, say hi.
Hello. Here
And
again.
we have a special guest today. The first guest. Initially, when I started this podcast, I had one guest who was Negus, but he actually just became a co host. So he's just a part of the show now, which is great. Because, I have no personality of my own to speak of. So it's really cool. it's really cool to have other people who can have more IQ and things that are interesting to say than I do. But we are actually joined by our first real guest. Most of you who are on Twitter actually have known of this guy. He's been around since I think it was 2017, 2018 times, and he's pretty cool individual. One of the more interesting people that I've seen on Twitter, certainly, because a lot of the other guys are just, all they do is kind of just post charts, whereas this guy is a little bit more generalized when it comes to the crypto. So more interesting content. So his name is Mr. Backwards at coin_shark on Twitter. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
What's up, guys? Well, that's a pretty good summary. Except that I'm not like the high IQ guess maybe, but that translates in the fact that I'm not like posting charts and acting like a big shot trader. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm just a guy who just turned to crypto Twitter to look for some information, and I'm actually still using it that way and just lurking at my feed to copy trades of other people to try to grow my portfolio. So here I am. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
no problem.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna we're not gonna do this thing that every other podcast does where they're like, so how did you get into crypto? We're not doing
Yeah.
that. We're just gonna talk about more general stuff, just whatever comes to mind. And the first thing actually that comes to mind that we're talking about this is you say you use Twitter. Like, it's actually quite similar to the way that I use Twitter, where I just go on there to kind of see what other people are saying and to help guide my own decision making process. Like, in your opinion, who are some of the best guys on Twitter that you like to follow?
Oh, that's difficult. I mean, there's like if it's just in regards to Bitcoin only, like for instance margin trading. I really like to some new cats like that guy George Trader.
Mm-hmm.
But I also look at how that Jack Sparrow guy, what he has to say.
Yeah.
Mostly because he has a very different opinion compared to other ones, and just to have a more balanced sentiment overview. So most of the time I make my own decisions when I trade,
Mm-hmm.
and then I use Twitter to see, okay, what's the current sentiment for the trade I'm in. Just
Yeah.
like searching for a Binance cash tag to just see if everyone is turning really bullish and the bull darts are coming in, so that's time to sell, for instance, in a
Yeah. Yeah.
simple example.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone looks at Loma for his Binance charts.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there are a few of those guys.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. You actually that it's kind of interesting that you bring that up because I have this opinion and I think you'll agree with me. When it comes to Twitter, there is the general stance that most of the traders will make where they tell you like I've seen this tweet said like a million different ways in a million different times where they're like, oh, you can't use Twitter to gauge sentiment because all the sentiment is different. To go on Twitter and
Mhm.
just say that, oh, everyone is turning bullish or everyone is turning bearish is stupid because everyone is not one way or the other. But like in
Mhm.
my experience, in my opinion, that is actually true. Like usually what happens at least this year because I started paying more attention to like actual trading because I was more of a swing trader recently or long term, whereas I started doing a little bit more shorter term stuff as of late. So that means that I
Mhm.
needed to pay more attention to this kind of stuff. Like I really do notice that a lot of the traders, like let's say 70 to 80%, are usually on one side of the trade. And the way that I see this usually happening is there's people like Crypto Orca, for example, or Loma's another good example. Flood is another good example where they will have a position, and then because these guys are the traders that everyone else is looking towards and following, that will influence their own decisions, which is natural, of course. But
Yeah.
over time, eventually, you'll get this snowball effect to where
Yeah.
mostly everyone on the
But
feed is going to have this
yeah.
trade. So, what do you think about that?
Well, what I think, like some of these BitMEX traders, I think the biggest problem is like some guys they just analyze the chart and post their entry and their prediction on where the take profits would be suitable for them. But like those bigger BitMEX traders, they also show off their position size.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're just a guy who is looking for information, I mean, I don't know how big his total holdings are,
Mm-hmm.
so I cannot compare how much, like for instance, these 2 million contracts are actually worth compared to his total portfolio.
Right.
So, but for the regular trader, and it includes me, that's a huge position. So you could get like overly bullish when you're seeing like screenshots of like, holy shit, that's a huge position. I mean,
Yeah.
he means business. I need to get in now, for instance. But maybe for him it's like only 1% risk. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
So that's so yeah. I mean, you can easily get caught up in an emotional roller coaster when you're searching for this. Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't know his
hot
money
mix rate.
percentage spread, then there's no way of indicating just how big it is there?
Yeah. Yeah.
To his in relation to his overall wallet.
Mhm, exactly.
Yeah.
All you see is the number of contracts. You're not seeing the size of the position.
Exactly.
It's ambiguous to say the least. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's also an element of like, the thing is like, I mean, it's funny because trading really is just kind of like all other social media where, you know, girls on Instagram or whatever, they're gonna take like 20 different pictures of the same like shoot, and then they're gonna look through all the 20 of them. They're gonna see, okay, which one's the best one? Okay, this one's the best one. This has the best lighting. I look at the best here. There's the best curves. Okay, so I'm gonna Photoshop that one up. It looks amazing. Now I'm gonna put that on Instagram, and like all of my pictures are like the best photos, and so like it gives you this altered perception of what is actually going on. And so I think crypto Twitter's the same way, where it's like this guy, maybe he posts every week or so, but maybe he doesn't show you the losing trades, which I actually have seen in many of these traders' cases where they will post that they have a position, and then it will go against them, and they just won't say anything. They'll just keep quiet about it.
Yeah. I mean, and that's like totally understandable.
Yeah.
I mean, even I, get myself into those positions. You know, like, okay, well, yeah, I bought, for instance, like just now, I bought like Wabi at 11.35 Satoshi. I don't know if it and if it goes down and I got stopped out, you know, maybe I won't tweet about it. But what I quickly learned, like when I was looking for information on Twitter back in 2017, is like everyone tweets something out with a certain goal in mind. I mean, most of the time, like 99%, it's not about educating people. Like, hey, maybe you should look at this and, you know, give it a look and buy a little. But it's just shitting their own bags. I mean, I think your Twitter handle is like, you know, fill before shill.
Yeah.
So I mean, and that's totally normal. But I mean, if you keep that in mind, so that's why I'm always saying it's very it's more useful Twitter for checking how your trade is going if you're already in a position, just to have some extra intel about the possible market sentiment that's gonna be dictating the next move up or down.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and God, this is actually like so interesting. Like Twitter, do you get the impression that because I've heard this opinion said a few times as well over time, ever since I want to say like 2018 or so, people have kind of come out with the idea and the thought that Twitter, perhaps nowadays, crypto Twitter in particular, is not as useful as it used to be. And this isn't my opinion. This is just what some of the other guys say. So they'll be like, "Oh yeah, back in the day, we used to have these traders who were much larger part of the market. Whales used to get on, like Wolong and so on, and Cobain, etc. And nowadays, it's a lot more. There's smaller traders, and the market's bigger, and so CT is a much smaller percentage, a smaller slice of the whole ecosystem. And so the prevailing idea is that CT is not as useful for information as it used to be. Like, what do you think about that?
Well, I think there's like a lot of more noise. I mean, yeah, I agree on that. I mean, I started in 2017, so I didn't experience that whole era beforehand with Olong and all. I mean, when I started, I was like shilling the Minecraft partnership with Digimon, and it worked out pretty well. But so just to illustrate, I mean, I started in that crazy time where like actually crypto got disconnected from the OG, so to call, and their original motivational reasons to actually be in crypto. I mean, when 2017 started off, it all became about money, and less about culture.
Yeah. Did you ever go to like, events and meetups and all that? Like during that time? Yeah, it was pretty bad, wasn't it?
It was just like, okay, well, I got invited, and then I've been to Vegas. I mean, for me, it was like a perfect opportunity to go to Vegas. Like a perfect hall pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any excuse. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a big shilling pit for ICOs. So it was kind of cool, but it was also disgusting at the same time.
Yeah, that was
yeah.
my general feeling too. Like, because I went to a few during that era, and it was just like you just kind of felt like you needed a shower afterwards because everyone was so sleazy.
Yeah. But I mean, I am part of that whole system as well. I mean, I've also shilled ICOs. I've also done this and that. So, but that was because I entered in a environment in the 2017 crypto school. It was all about just getting gains, and ICOs were hot back then. So
yeah, I think that's a piece of information that a lot of people miss as well. It's like they kind of look at CT influencers, let's say, and they put them on this weird pedestal where they're like, oh, you're just, you're taking this partnership, or you're like shilling this project or whatever, so you're just making money off of us. It's like the reality oftentimes, at least in my experience, usually ended up being that a lot of these influencer guys, myself included, actually lost money, whenever the ICO thing ended up going down. So like we went down with the ship in many respects, along with everyone else.
Yeah. I mean, nowadays also a lot of partnerships are being paid in dollars or anything, because like, I mean, especially in this current environment, like if a new project is approaching someone and he says, well, I give you 5 million funny tokens that could be worth I don't know, a X amount in the future. That's all total BS.
Yeah. You've heard it here first.
I still get solicited on LinkedIn. Still now, people come look at my project, and it's normally some I'm not saying sexist, but it's normally some sort of photo of some kind of marketing lady who looks like she has a nice Instagram profile as well. Would you like to evaluate our project? And they give me a sales video, or they want to see something, and if they actually have a pitch deck or a white paper, you can just scan like the first 6 pages, and it's garbage. It's complete garbage.
Yeah.
It's either a partial clone of something that hasn't been built properly, and you can tell. Well, I can tell. I'm like, no, thank you. I get like, I don't know, about 9 or 10 of those a week. Or it's, I had a classic this week. A lady in Ukraine wanted to solicit me a crypto AI trading bot. Fair enough. And then she wanted to send me we can send you a sales video explaining how AI works. And I was like, love, I actually write about AI, I don't really need an explainer for noobs on machine learning. Thank you very much. Which, the thing is, they don't actually look at your profile. You know what I mean? They don't look.
Yeah. That's the same goes with all those.
It's such a waste of time. I hate it. I mean, I've actually put it in my profile. Please don't.
I think you just need to understand they also have like a boss they work for, and they have a target. So just bring me in clients, and then they're just desperate. Like, oh shit, it's like the months are almost over. Just gonna mass email or mass message some guys on LinkedIn.
It works the same way as headhunters on LinkedIn. They've got a quota for the number of people they've got to hit that are in the database, and they just spam it out. I mean, some of the things they actually push towards me are positively, Twilight Zone in terms of how bad they are. But
it's like they're just like shooting with a
scattergun approach.
Yeah, a scattergun approach. Maybe it's all from the same office, from the same guys who are just like busting out white papers. I mean, it used to be in 2018, like people are just there's this one syndicate, and they just like different projects on Bitcoin Talk.
Have nice airbrushed Instagram photos, so I've noticed
that. Roy, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Like you're now in Bangkok, and is there like any day-to-day usage or notice of crypto in general, like on the streets?
Yeah, bro, we're like slinging altcoins here. No, not at all. Man. It's like, I mean, Asia's like, the thing about crypto here is like, it's very, I think you can have a conversation about crypto in the West, like in Europe or whatever, with your taxi driver. You can't really do that here. I mean, the average person here, at least in Thailand, the average Thai person doesn't really know, what the hell crypto is. Indonesia is much the same story. Singapore, they do have a good idea of what's going on. I've talked to Singapore people, been there a few times, and usually they have, it's kind of like the West there, where they do know what crypto is, and some of them have even bought, and so they're decently invested in it. I think
it might also have to do with, I think maybe it might have to do with like the people in like Singapore and the West, they have more residual income to spend on.
I mean, it's also Singapore's also a lot more technologically, let's say, not advanced, but they're more willing to try new things when it comes to technology, for sure. Especially, I mean, fintech in Singapore is huge. So I think the place to be probably for that kind of thing, where if you're interested in doing crypto in Asia, is probably in Hong Kong, which I have not been to. But yeah, I mean, it's usually, the thing about Asia is like, it's so very populous. So it's actually kind of difficult to find these communities, just because there's so many people here that the chances of you finding people that are into crypto is actually a lot lower, because they kind of generally keep to themselves. And they're all just, these bigger syndicates and VC groups and companies. And that's still a thing that's alive and kicking here in Asia. But certainly the average person doesn't really concern himself too much with what crypto is. And many of them don't even know what it is, really.
Okay. Like, I think it was a few months ago, or maybe a month ago, like several people on Twitter, they were like tweeting out like, "Hey, where's Roy Blackstone? Has anyone heard of Roy? Is he okay?"
Yeah. I guess I never actually explained to anyone what I was doing there. And I won't explain it on this podcast either because it's kind of like a personal thing. But I will explain.
Okay.
I will explain a little bit.
Sorry for bringing it up, man.
No, it's fine. It's actually fine. So yeah, it was just like, oh god, when did I start? I started February 1st because it was like a self-imposed thing. I was like, you know what? I've never actually done like a tech detox or anything like this before. So what I actually did, it wasn't just Twitter, it was everything. I uninstalled Telegram, I uninstalled Discord, I uninstalled Twitter, everything off of my app, off of my phone, took it off of my computer, and I just kind of like sat in my condo in Bangkok and like just like read books and dieted and stuff. And like, do you ever watch Doctor Strange?
Yeah.
You know when Benedict Cumberbatch is like training on the mountain or whatever. That's how I felt. You know, I was unlocking my magical
That sounds
powers.
actually amazing, man. That sounds like a really good thing. Really good thing to do.
It was great. But the unfortunate thing is, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do this for like 2 months, and then I'm gonna come back around like end of March, which I did. But as soon as I came back, because I wasn't following any of this news stuff, I wasn't following anything. I didn't know that COVID was really a thing. And so I came back, and it was like, oh yeah, by the way, like, you know, it was kind of like when Bruce Wayne came back to Gotham in Batman Begins, and he's like, yeah, the city's like full of crime now, bro.
All right, let's get to work.
Yeah. So it was like that, and it's like, well, the thing is I decided I was gonna do like, it was literally basically like self quarantine for like 2 months, and then I came back, and now like the entire world is in quarantine. So it's like, oh, okay, so I have to do more of the same thing that I was already doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, I mean, I assume at one point it just got like too much information around you, and just you told yourself, okay, just go into
definitely
tech rehab.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool. Like it was quite nice. You know, I definitely got in a better place mentally from that.
I can imagine. Yeah. I mean, even myself, sometimes I get crazy from like switching between all these different tabs and screens and messenger services, and yeah, definitely sounds like a good something to put on my personal roadmap for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I do recommend it. I mean, what I did when I came back, because I do things differently now from before, is like I turned off, basically, like I kind of trained myself to have this weird Pavlovian response that I think a lot of people do, where whenever you get a notification on your phone or your desktop or something, you get this, every app has like this stupid little ping that's like ping, 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 you got a new message. It's like what I was doing before. You know, before I decided to do the detox, it was like I would have these things, and like I would literally like go to sleep, and I'd be like in my bed, and I would hear these pings go off in my head, and they were like phantom pings. I don't know if you've ever had that before.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where you like you hear the sound of like you just got a notification, but you didn't actually get anything.
Yeah.
It's really bad. So I turned like all of that off, and I don't have that anymore. And so like now I feel like I'm not chained to my computer or my phone anymore, because I'm not constantly getting these pings. I know that if I get a message, it's on silent now, so like I check my phone.
Well, I've got the same. I've got like on my phone, I've like the sleep mode, and the only thing that notifies me like with the actual screen lighting up and sound is when someone calls me. So I'm for the rest, I just have to unlock my screen and check what's up.
Yeah.
I did that a while ago because it was driving me nuts. Because trading's taken a back seat for me. I'm more of an investor type than a day trader, sometimes swing trader. But learning to code and training to be a dev takes up a lot of time. And if these pings are constantly going off, you know, you lose your train of thought and you've got to start again, which is incredibly frustrating because this stuff is complicated.
Yeah, you have to keep being concentrated also.
Yeah, it's like you've got this whole little logic castle of things you're learning in your head, and then the ping goes and it all comes crashing down, and you have to start again. So I just kill it. It has to be on silent. Also, when I sleep, sometimes
definitely. No, sleep
if
is
I do it before I sleep. I can guarantee within 15 minutes I'll be grabbing my phone and swearing and doing it, switching it off. You know,
No, sleep is underrated by most
you
people.
have to have it, otherwise you can't function, or you can't function optimally anyway. There's a kind of balance to it where you respond to the tech when you want to, not when the tech tells you to. You see what I mean?
No, yeah, definitely. Yeah, no,
Otherwise,
exactly.
you're all over the place. You're not focused effectively
Yeah.
because you're not in control. You're being pulled here, there, and everywhere, and it just doesn't work.
You are becoming a slave of your phone. You have to be the master. I mean, that sounds a bit weird, but yeah, you have to.
Well, it's not just sleep, diet, and exercise. I mean, I do things like researching white papers, or doing this podcasts, or learning to code, and then I'm so time constrained now. I have to use a nice signals channel, which is pretty dead now because the market has been crap for a while. Whiplash land, as we've all seen in the last few weeks. But even so, I have to structure my day to get shit done. Yeah. So in the first thing in the morning, I do X, and then I do Y for 2 hours, and then I break, and then I do something else, and then something else. And in the breaks, I'll look at things. But if you don't have that structure, you can't focus on anything. And if you don't focus on things, you're not as effective as you could be. You have to have the structure. And if you find yourself drifting away from it, you have to say, hang on a minute, hit the pause button. Let's put it back in place.
Yeah, I started, I think it was somewhere like in the second quarter of 2019. I started this bullet journal because I was also like fed up with my tasks and to-do lists being all over the place. And it's just like this structured way of organizing your agenda with, like, I don't know, like upgraded to-do lists, just to make it a bit easier to not get like drifted away in between tasks, because that's like, I mean, those days pass by, and then like when you go to bed, you're like, okay, I haven't done anything.
I mean, even
like really
even little things like, get up, go to the loo, brush your teeth, have a cup of coffee, say read the news for 30 minutes.
I haven't brushed my teeth today.
Yeah. Read the news for 30 minutes. And then after those things, or I don't know, meditate for 10 minutes, whatever you're going to do, whatever floats your boat. But get those things out of the way. And then I make 2 little lists. I make, right, what are the real life things I have to do today? Like, I don't know, phone call to take the car to the garage, phone call to, call the bank about a direct debit, whatever it is. Those are 2-3 bullets that I have to do today. Yeah. And then the things I have to do for crypto or for coding, what I'm going to go through today in terms of course modules, or do I have to look at this paper? And then there's another parallel bullet for that. And I try and tick off as many as I can. Yeah. And then at the end of the day, I'll look, if I haven't done it, then those items that I haven't done, those are the ones on the top of the list for the next day.
Exactly.
Grind through it whilst doing all your normal stuff structured.
Yeah, and if you do it like that, then in the end it also becomes quite satisfying if you
it does.
if you can tick off those tasks.
Your bullet list is good. I do that as well, but in a slightly different way. But if you don't do it, you're all over the place. You're like a hamster on a wheel.
Yeah,
really, and it just doesn't work. Well, it will in the short term, but in the long term, it won't.
Well, we wonder why and how it was possible that Michelangelo and Da Vinci and Bernini did all of their work. And the answer is they didn't have social media, so they were just kind of sitting in their houses and they were bored.
That might be a good explanation for that, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird though, right? Because we have all these people, more 7 billion, almost 8 billion people on the planet, more than ever before, and it's like it almost feels like even though we have so many people, we're all doing half as much when it comes to the first world, because we're all chained to our social media. It's strange.
Yeah.
So I think Naval had Naval said something interesting, which is somewhat related, and he said the people who will succeed, because we live in such an age of abundance these days, the people who are going to be truly successful in the future are going to be the ones who can avoid falling into those vices, as opposed to anything like it used to be, where before it was a lot more scarcity. Now we're just, everything is in abundance. And I think that's also true of social media. Like, the people who are truly successful are the guys who can maintain, social media at arm's length in a way, and
Definitely.
be able
But
to.
it's also extremely difficult because like for myself, I'm not really struggling with like the amount of social media I consume because I can fairly balance it in my day-to-day life. But like now I'm like raising a little girl. I mean, she's only she's still a baby, but um, I mean it's very difficult to because on one side social media is like hell of a lot of fun. I mean, it can be very useful. It for some people it can mean a decent career, and I'm not talking about those shallow, Instagram influencers, but I mean, it really can open up doors. And at the other hand, it can also consume you. So it's very difficult to raise kids nowadays with a good balance. Besides just like telling, okay, after 5 p.m. no more social media, because it doesn't work that way, because the world doesn't stop at 5 p.m. So it's
No, it doesn't.
difficult.
As I know, I've got 2. My girl's 7, but she was a bit of a terror when she was little, especially at 2 years old. That was horrible. Have you got that to look forward to? The 2s.
yeah. Well, thanks.
The 2s is just, when it's over, you're so happy. It's like a revelation. You're emerging from the depths of hell.
Oh wow. Okay.
On that note, we are hitting our time here. Really fun podcast, by the way. I actually came with a little list of questions, and I didn't get to go over a single one of them because we were talking about all this other stuff, which was already interesting. So that's good. That's very good.
Right.
Yeah. So that I think it was a good podcast. Shill yourself, Mr. Backwards. Where are you at? Where can people find you? People who are maybe your audience. What do you like to talk about?
Well, I don't know, man. Just look me up on Twitter, and whenever I post a hashtag, just immediately mark it by that shit. That really helps me. And for the rest, just don't overtrade. Like for myself, I said just set yourself a maximum of amount of trades you're gonna make, whether it be losing or winning. Just know when to stop, take a rest, and go at it again the day after. So that's it.
Wow, yeah, it's a really good tip. I think I'll take that advice myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it from everybody here, and leave us like everyone who's listening to this, comment, subscribe, do all the fun stuff. Give us a comment, let us know what you think, and we'll be back with some more stuff very soon, everybody. Cheers.
All right, guys. Bye bye.